because I have good distance vision. I don't have close vision, which is I'm wondering, I probably would have gotten the LASIK anyway if I had known what my eyes would be like now. The
How long has it
benefit,
been? It's been like 20 something years.
yeah, yep. And again, the distance vision is good. The thing that I miss is when I was you know, older, I mean younger, sorry, one of those directions. When I was younger, I could see fine when I held stuff up like this, really close to my face,
Yeah.
and I missed that. But I was just thinking about it the other day. There's no guarantee that I would have had that vision for these last 20 years
Right.
because I've just had to get reading glasses the last 20 years. It might have been that I would have been completely blind by that
Well,
point.
probably not completely blind, but yeah, I'm sure you
Well,
would
you
have
know what
had
I
to have
mean.
had some sort of prescription. Yeah.
Legally blind. Um, so, so these are what I wear most of the time, and then I have these that I wear when I'm working on the computer. They're just, you know, reading glasses style.
Oh yeah. Frameless. Look at that.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
modern, pretty
So
cool.
pretty modern and cool. And I'm debating on whether or not to just wear these for the podcast. I actually wasn't wearing glasses at first, and I got these so that I could wear them. I mean, I like the way that these look, but you are kind of blurry to me. So I am going
Well,
to
I'm just
put
blurry
these
in
on.
general.
Yes,
I've been wearing
that
the
Ben
same
Lawrence is a blurry fella.
I've been wearing the same types of frames ever since I got glasses. In
Hmm.
2009 is when I started wearing glasses. And so the nice lady at Dr. Moore helped me pick these out, and I think they looked fine. And I have not varied my frame choice, even though these are like the
No,
fourth iteration of the prescription. It's the same sort of framing.
I will say that when I think of you, you are wearing those glasses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I didn't. You
So,
probably remember when I did not wear glasses.
yes, I do. There was a time when we swapped. You didn't wear glasses, I did wear glasses, and then I got the LASIK, and then soon afterwards, you
I
started
got the
wearing
glasses.
glasses.
Yeah.
And now it's just part of your brand.
It is my brand. It's on
So,
my cartoon avatars. They all wear glasses.
are you ready for the best fun thing in the entire world?
The best fun thing in the entire world. That's a way to build something up, Paul. I hope you can deliver
Yep.
on that.
Ben, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a photograph.
Okay.
This will be fun. This
Via
is
text or email.
Gauge via text. This is Gauge Ben's reaction. So you, the
Uh-oh.
audience, are going to hear Ben's reaction to something, and then you're going to have to guess. You, the audience, are going to have to guess what it is that Ben has just seen. Oh, I have so many photos that I could use for this, but there's a specific one. Um, and then we'll talk about it, Ben.
All right. I
Okay,
await with
photo
bated
coming.
breath. It may take a minute, as photos take a minute. Oh, there it is. All right. I'm opening up the text. I'm seeing a photo of the rear end of a Toyota that looks like it has been crashed into. Paul, this
Yep.
isn't your new car, is it?
This is the new car, Ben.
Oh man,
The
what
game
happened?
the game didn't go exactly how I wanted. I just wanted you to go, "Oh, what happened?" And then
Oh,
people would have
sorry.
to wonder what I was looking at. However, it's a nice segue. So Jennifer was in St. Louis, and some guy. She was stopped at a stop light or a stop sign, one of the two. She was stopped, completely stopped, and one of the people on the road just didn't
Behind her did not stop
slow
in
down.
time. Yeah.
She said he didn't even touch his brakes.
Oh my God, I'm so
So
sorry. Is she
yeah,
okay?
yeah, she is okay. Her neck
That's
hurts a
good.
little bit. Now the fun
Yeah.
part is apparently the guy is not
Insured or to had a valid driver's
responding.
license.
Oh,
Oh, even
he
better.
did he did have a valid driver's license. He is insured. We are working with their insurance company even as we speak. And
And you've had this car less than a month.
yeah, it's really disappointing. I was hoping, now they could fix it. They might fix it, but I mean, look at it, right?
Did they tow it to your yard all the way to Edwardsville from St.
Oh,
Louis?
oh, Ben, Jennifer drove it back.
Are you serious? She drove it like this?
Yeah, on back
Oh
roads.
my God.
I mean, maybe she
It does
didn't.
not
I
look
don't know.
drivable. I am
Yeah,
surprised. It does not look drivable.
yeah, it isn't drivable, yeah, according to her. So, so anyway, that's what we're working on now. So
Yeah.
again, move to Chicago, unsure. Maybe not happening anytime soon because we have to
Right.
get another car first.
Another car.
Now, I had floated the idea to Jennifer about, we could theoretically move there and just use public transportation. And she had pointed out that that works for me and Betty because we can walk to the bus stops and stuff like that. But Jennifer's
Right.
mobility is not such that that would be really an option.
Right.
And I said, well, we could get one that's just right across from the train station. And she was like,
Even then.
if we do that, my audio recording isn't going to go that well because
Oh, because
she
the
does
L is
her,
loud.
yeah, she does her books. Her, by the
Well, I
way,
mean,
did I tell you already that the latest book that she's doing is done by the guy who made Snood?
I don't know what snoot is.
Oh my God, Ben, look it up. Snood. It's a video game. It's fun.
Oops.
You don't have to do it now, but it's
I'm doing
fun.
it
It's a fun
now.
video game.
I
Yeah,
feel
Snood.
shamed. Snood. Snood World. Forget
Hmm?
life. Play Snood. Okay. It's an app. It's a game app. It looks I like between like Breakum and Candy Crush maybe.
It's a really old game, right? I played it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And when I
So the
say a kid, maybe I could have been in my 20s. You
so
never
this
know.
guy wrote a book and Jennifer did the audiobook.
Uh-huh. She's doing the
Excellent.
audiobook for it right now.
Oh, doing it right now.
She has already done one of his books. So you were correct. Your statement was correct. He has done a
Are
new
they
book. She is also doing the audiobook for that.
what genre does he write in? Are they science fiction?
Science
Are they
fiction. Yep.
okay?
And they're pretty
Cool.
good.
Cool,
They're
cool, cool.
pretty good. Also, like I said, he made Snood, which is pretty awesome.
Oh,
So,
he's probably set for life then.
yeah, yeah, most likely. Hey, guess what? I
What?
stopped using OpenAI for right now.
What
And
were you using it for?
well, actually, you know what? I haven't stopped. Now that I think about it, I don't subscribe to it anymore. I use it when I'm trying to think of something and I don't remember what it is. Like if
So
I
you would
can
use
Google
the Chat
something,
GPT feature and not like the because I know you
yeah.
stopped doing the image creation.
Well, yeah.
Uh-oh. Confession time?
I've started doing it again, but this time through
We're
a.
just not telling Betty.
Well, no, I mean Betty knows about it. She's not happy about it, but it's a community rather than a product, if that makes sense. It's basically an online group that works with stable diffusion stuff. Here, my way of thinking about it is this. Okay, so stable diffusion, right? Made their made their product uh, for educational purposes, research, etc.
Right.
They they got their data sets during that time where there wasn't any copyright concern. I am not using it for commercial gain, so I feel like I'm not doing anything unethical, and that's where I've kind of landed. Um, don't know how long that'll last, but at least right now, the group that I'm working with, um, they aren't tied to any sort of corporation or anything. They're like deviant art, kind of that sort of thing. It's a community of AI people that
Yeah.
are doing stuff. So I will tell you this. Number one, it is it is as easy as you make it. And what I mean by that is this: you can just open up a thing, an AI thing, and type in, cat girl with squirt gun, and then take the image that it makes, and then you're done. There it is, cat girl with squirt gun, whatever it is, and you use it, and that's fine. If you have an actual image in your head that you're trying to match, it becomes very difficult.
It's almost like
But
a
you
game.
you can do it, but it's yeah. And so I'm going back and forth the philosophical idea of, is there a skill to this that you can get?
There must be because
And
I don't know if I've seen the job posting, but I know that there are people out there who consider themselves prompt engineers.
yeah, and the way that it basically works is that a prompt engineer uh, could get closer to the thing you want than you could on your own. Basically, would be the way
Okay.
that I would think about it. There, the the way that it works. We've talked about this before. I think the way that it works is it's like calculus rather than math, or an art, if you will, rather than a science, in that you're going to get near the thing that you want.
Right.
But like, so as an example, um, you look at an image, and again, I'm using this as an example. You have a cat girl with a squirt gun, right? The cat girl is wearing a bikini, and the squirt gun is green, and she's a black cat. And you look at the prompt, right, that the person's written in, and the prompt is, you know, golden hour lighting, Nikon 875. I don't know if that's her. Um, octane render, 8K, 4K, submissive young cat girl wearing bra and panties, squirt gun, filled with maple syrup, uh, red gun, big red gun, white cat, fur covered with syrup, fur, syrup, and so like all these words, right? The image that you're looking at is a good image, right? But everything that they've put in to get that good image, to me, seems like you're just throwing all this stuff in the
It
blender and hoping something else comes out.
it sounds
It
less like a
doesn't
prompt.
have.
It sounds less like a prompt and more like somebody describing something who has had mild brain trauma.
Yeah, yeah. Now the thing is that if you if you don't do that, right? If you are more simple, then you're not forcing it to do something as much. You have more control over it, in my opinion, but you don't
Yeah.
have. So there are things called negative weights too, right? So I write in just this: a man from the 1800s. That's all I write. A man from the
Right.
1800s. And then you get all these guys with mustaches, right? Crazy.
1800
So,
style mustaches, presumably.
yes. So then you write in man from 1800s, no mustache. And they still have mustaches, right? And the reason is because again, it's not a science, it's an art. These
Right.
things, you can't say no mustaches to it because it doesn't understand. You say no mustaches, it goes, oh, mustaches. Okay. But there are these things called negative prompts. And if you put mustache in the negative prompt, then it knows, okay, 1800s man,
Uh,
that's over here. Mustaches is over here. And I'm going to take all of those out and I'm just going to give this 1800s. You're swimming in a sea of different images. And
right.
this is the thing. This is the reason why I feel as though, um, in the end, and this is the thing. If you're an artist and you are, I'm not going to work a job where I make AI art for someone. That's not
Right.
my thing. It wouldn't feel right. Also, I can't imagine it pays what I do. Now, again, if we have a Patreon and I need money and there are people that do that, who knows what I'd do? You know me, Ben. When it comes to work, my morality is very slim, but I don't think I would do it. I feel as though I wouldn't. But this is the thing. Um, the way that this works, the way that AI generated art works, you have a square. They also have vertical and horizontal, but mostly square.
Yeah.
And you are combing through a fictional space, but it's not actually fictional. It's actually real of every single variation of every pixel in that image, right?
Yeah.
So there's an image right now out in this infinite space of the iPad that I'm looking at you with, your image on the iPad, my image on the screen, that a snapshot of this image exists somewhere out there. And what you're basically doing is you're using hints that you get from the somewhere out there in the latent space inside the computer um, brain, and you're saying, "I want you to bring that image to me," basically, and you're training it to do that. But there are also an infinite number of images. Infinite. No, because we're dealing with a set. But there are myriad images of
Yes.
the same thing, but you've got a top hat on, or you have a mustache, or you have all these different things, right? And so what we're doing is we're saying, and this is all more philosophical than the engineering way it works, but we're saying, bring me this stuff, right? And so when you train it, you're basically saying, um, I I want you to bring me more this stuff than this stuff, basically. Like you say, have I told you already about how this works? Have we talked about this already?
Possibly we've talked a lot about it, but talked a lot about it. But remind me, just so I'm caught up.
So you have a picture of a cat, and you add noise to the image, and you say to the computer, "Hey, here's a picture of a cat. Here's a picture of a cat with noise. Here's a picture of a cat with more noise." All the way up until the noise has completely obscured the cat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you go backwards, and you're like, okay, so here's the noise, and then you subtract the noise, subtract the noise, until eventually there's a cat, right? And you do the same thing with dogs, right? And so you've trained it so that it knows. what a cat is, it knows what a dog is, right? And then what you do is you give it random static and you say, make the cat that's in this picture. And so it does that separation thing. If it goes, okay, I know how to separate the noise to get to the cat picture. I've done it 1,000 times. I'll do it again. The only thing is that you, the trainer, have not added noise to a picture of a cat this time. The computer is interpreting this noise and making a cat out of it
Right.
until eventually you have a picture of a cat. And this picture of a cat is not going to be the same as the other pictures that you fed it, right?
Right.
It's its own interpretation. It will do the same thing with dogs, right? In this example. And you start out with the same static. It could either make a cat or make a dog, and you don't know which, right? So this is where the text prompt comes in. You say to the cat, you say to the generator, hey, make a cat out of this, and then it'll make a cat. You say, hey, make a dog, then it'll make a dog. And it's a little spooky, right? People sort of understand how it works, but they don't exactly understand how it works,
So
is the understanding that I have.
how does this relate to what your involvement with OpenAI right now?
Oh no, it's not OpenAI. This isn't OpenAI. This is Stable Diffusion is the name of the generating equipment,
Oh, okay.
and that's not OpenAI. It's its own deal. So what I am using OpenAI for is I still have ChatGPT on my phone. So, and sorry, that was a long way to get to this. Um, so if I want to say, what was the name of the Matthew Broderick movie uh, where he was playing a guy who was hanging out with Rucker Hauer? Now I already know this. It's Lady Hawk,
Yeah.
but I might type it in and it will say Lady Hawk, etc. But I don't use it to make any earth-shattering decisions or business decisions.
Well, good.
And the reason why is because of their deal with News Corp. I don't. Rupert Murdoch, man,
Right. You just
he was the one that made our parents crazy. Well, maybe not your parents, maybe not my parents, but
no, but
one's parents
one's
crazy.
parents. Yeah. Rupert
And so now
Murdoch,
they're gonna do.
was it 93-year-old Rupert Murdoch who just married like somebody 30 years like his
I
sixth
I
married
believe so.
marriage,
Yes.
and like she's like in her mid 60s and people are like, "Ooh, scandalous," but like she's in her mid 60s.
Yeah. So so I feel as though we're going to see brain rot happen with AI. For a while, people didn't like it because it was too woke. People said
Of
AI
course.
was too woke. Which, by the way, thank you
AI
again,
respects
Erica
consent and
Badu,
boundaries.
for yeah, exactly, giving people, which is weird because its creators did not.
It's rebelling.
Also,
It's
its
in that teenage
users.
rebellion phase.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I still think it's really interesting that it's Betty's generation that understands that it's unethical more than the older people.
Right.
Because it used to be that the kids were always into the next new thing or whatever, and that isn't the same. That isn't the way anymore.
I
I
wonder
feel
if there's
like.
some sort of generational reasoning for that. Like, is our generation just used to like co-opting somebody else's art for our own personal our own
I mean,
personal not
Ben,
gain, but like could you like
I,
it's
I,
like sampling, right? Our generation is the one
yeah,
who saw artists go
exactly.
through the whole sampling lawsuits.
Yeah, it's sampling. It's exactly what it is. Sampling, photocopying images for zines, things like that. We
Yeah.
have done it, and again, the thing that's interesting about it is that the stuff that the AI comes up with. is it's it's like the biggest hack on the planet. And hack not meaning computer wise, but meaning
Right.
like, because it really is taking the stuff that's popular and just doing that but a little different.
Right.
It's like, okay, so the way that you can think about, I mean, you already know. I don't have to convince you about the problem, the ethical problem, right? With
Right.
with that stuff. You don't have to, but you you may have seen this already, especially in Pike Place Market, where someone's selling like handbags, let's say, that they crochet themselves, and it says "no photos!" exclamation point. Right?
Yeah.
You've seen that before. It's because people will take pictures of it and then figure out how to do it, and then that thing that this
Right.
person's come up with is no longer theirs. It's somebody else's doing it. Unethical. Same thing as, stealing a joke. Unethical.
Yeah.
What I would say is this: the way that the AI art stuff works is it takes it listens to all of your jokes, all of Ben's jokes, and it goes, okay, to tell a Ben Lawrence joke, and I'm just making this up. Let's say that you really love knock knock jokes. To tell a Ben Lawrence joke, I say knock knock, and then they say who's there, and I say something, and the thing I say sounds like something else. Then when they say whatever who, then I give them the punchline of something, and it just runs through that until it learns it, and then it'll come up with its own joke, and it will be in your style. It won't be your joke necessarily. Um,
But it's
but
definitely an identifiable Ben Lawrence joke.
but it's a if again if you were the only person in the world who did knock knock jokes
Right. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
this example. But and this is the thing that gets us, or it'll get you. It'll get you in the end. Um, we are slowly learning. Twitter showed us this already. When you and I were kids and the internet wasn't around, right? We were able to think that we were unique and that no one thought like us, and we, you know, to the point where if somebody made a joke like mine on television, I thought that they had stolen my joke. Somehow, someone who writes for this place, you
Right.
know, heard my joke and they wrote it, not thinking that, oh wait, maybe we just have very similar brains. And that similar brain thing was really hard for people to accept and agree with. But we're getting to that point. And so that this is the problem, is that my art style, the giraffe and elephant art style, right,
Yeah.
is there is I think I told you the story before, but if I didn't, I'll tell you now. There is I won a little bit of an award in Illinois for 1 year, and I got um, called to teach a little class, to have a little class with these kids, and say, this is how you draw stuff, and this is if you want to be
When was this?
right when I moved. It's called Illinois Reads. It was in 2014.
I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, I think I talked about it, but maybe we weren't doing the podcast yet.
It's
It's
possible. No, we
possible.
were doing the podcast,
It
but
was
that was 10 years ago, Paul.
it was really early. Oh yeah, that's right. Huh. Seems like it was closer than that, but yeah, it was 10 years ago. Um, and so this kid, was like drawing giraffe and elephant much better than me. Like just freehanding it, didn't mess up, didn't have to start over. It looked just as good. And he not only can draw that, but he can draw, this, like tons of
Yeah.
other things. And this is the thing that that you and I know for having to audition all the time, but people may not get. As an artist, you're not only competing against, you know, people who have just now started using, AI to make art or whatever, but also all the other artists as an actor, right? If you're auditioning against other, even if AI were to go away, you would still have competition. The problem is it's the competition from AI is uh, like you can't surpass it on quantity. You have to do it with quality because
Right.
there was a guy. I think I might have complained to you about this before because it sounded really dumb. There's a guy who's like, "Yeah, I just made the equivalent of 10 albums in an afternoon," and it's like, "Yeah, but what are those? What are those 10 albums going to sound like?"
Yeah.
You have to think that human creation means something.
Well, and
It,
I
it,
I saw someone recently who said I never really believed in the human soul until I saw AI artwork and heard AI music, and now I believe that's what separates the human created something from the AI generated something, which is the
yeah.
soul of it.
So, and this is what I would say is that, um, so that one of the things that um, this website has is the rating game, where you're going through and you're rating. They have content um, stratification, right? As far as who can see what. So
Yeah.
there's triple X, which is like actual sex stuff. X, which is just nudity. R, which
Softcore.
is like, yeah, it's basically if you so R is um like swimsuits that are revealing and underwear and stuff like that. And PG-13 is like less than that, and then PG is no sexiness.
Right. Family
Just
friendly.
yeah.
Well, not really
And so
family
what you
friendly,
do
but
is, you're helping train the AI to pick this stuff out, right? And so you're watching these images, you're looking at these images, and you're going, okay, that's an R, that's an X, that's triple X, that's a PG, that's a PG-13, so on and so forth. So you're going through all the images. They actually just start at PG-13. And and the thing is that the AI already knows what some of these images are. And if you rate it higher or lower than how it rates it, you get an X, a red X. Three red X's, and you have to start over. Right. So I got all the way up to level 20 at one point in time going through these things. But here's the reason I'm saying that is this. As you're going through all these, it's exactly what you're saying. Soulless. This one's, you know, they all look the same. There's nothing new about this and all that.
yeah.
And every once in a while, you will hit one that it says something. You're like, this is a this is a good image. And whenever that happens, I look at what generated it, and oftentimes it's a good like a person who really was thoughtful and said something interesting. But also 9 times out of 10, that thing where I'm like, aha, this is good, is just a block of text where they're throwing everything at the wall, seeing if it sticks. So I
Just seeing
find
what
that
happens.
interesting. But the good news is, Ben, of course, that we will always have art critics to save us because there and I don't know her name. There's an art critic. Oh, that goes by. I think it's art lust. I think that's what it.
Okay.
Let me look because I want to make sure because I'm giving them props, so I want to make sure that I get it right.
I did not
I
know
think it's art.
this critic.
This is on YouTube. Um, I think it's art lust, and if it's not, yeah, art lust. So Artlust is a YouTuber at Artlust ARTLUST underscore who goes through and basically is giving people like me who don't really, I'm not an art historian. I don't have that much of an arts education. I did some technical stuff like a cartooning class and some drawing classes, but I didn't take any art history classes. So it's great. She goes through and she talks about different periods of art and different things and all that.
Like putting everything in
One of the
context.
Yeah, and one of the things that people get mad at her a lot in general because people don't like being told that their favorite artist isn't really saying or doing anything new,
Right.
right? But that's one of her things is and this is I mean she actually has a thing about AI art stuff, but it basically is, you know, making an image, being able to make an image isn't enough for the art critic world. You have to be saying something. It has to be, okay, so you did this. Well, what does this mean? What are you trying to
Right.
do with this,
Yeah.
etc. And and for most of the people doing AI art that I've seen, I know for me it's the case is I want to look at picture of thing. I make this thing. Ah, this thing is good. I want a picture of my D&D character. I want a picture of what I think that this character looks like, right?
Well, you don't need AI for that. You just go to Hero Forge.
Is that a thing that makes minis?
Do you not know what a Hero Forge is?
Isn't Hero Forge don't they make minis? I think they do.
Yeah, I think you can design a character, from what I understand. I haven't spent much time there myself. You can design a whole character, and then, yeah, it'll spit out a 3D model, 3D modeling plans that you load into your 3D printer, and it'll make you sell a figurine.
Yeah,
But it's the
which is pretty
design
cool.
aspect that I'm referring to specifically, not the printing part, but it's you're able to design a character.
Yeah. So, um, and you could do that yourself. You know, exactly.
Yes.
You're still using tools that
Without
somebody
the
else has
trial and
made.
error of like text prompts.
Exactly.
It's more like you pick and select from certain preloaded attributes.
So, what I'm wondering about all this is basically, are we? This is I had a film history class that also did this thing, which is the first thing that we had to do as people who are making movies
Right.
is learn how to make the image, you know, of the thing that we're recording, and that's the first thing, right? And then we create this language where you see this image and then there's a cut and then you see another image, and the idea is that our brain links those two things together. Oh, these two things are happening. So you have a picture of a man walking down the street, a picture of another man yelling out of a window, a picture of the man turning, and you say to yourself, aha, these two men are in the same space, they're talking to each other, etc. So that's like, we get a common language about the medium. And then finally, you know, once you do all that and you can tell a story, then you figure out how you decide what sort of stories you want to tell.
Yeah.
And then finally, you circumvent, and change the conventional style that's risen up, right? That's kind of the way that it works. It without um, without his girl Friday, there wouldn't be Eraserhead because Eraserhead needs, the this is what movies are, so that we walk in knowing what movies are, and then when it does something that we're not used to, we have to like kind of adapt to it, etc. All of that to say, at least at this point, for most of AI art, we are still in the everyone's just making the thing that looks like the thing.
Right.
We aren't past, you know, and granted, there are some cases where it may maybe there's somebody out there who's doing something really, you know, crazy and interesting. I mean, that's what I'm trying to. So the thing I'm doing now, that I'm not just making images, I'm generating models. I'm training models, right, on my images, the images that I make. So like I'm not using giraffe and elephant, right? But I'm using all of my little cartoons that I've done to make my style so that I can pull it in and use it.
And
Um,
is the end goal here, or if there is one, to have an AI spit out a Paul Goody cartoon?
um, no, no, I'm not doing it for that reason. What I'm doing it for is, if you can imagine, um, like top 40 radio, right? And then Negative Land comes in and they chop it up and they do weird stuff with it, right? The models that I'm creating are designed to break the AI standard look, if that makes sense. You know how you can look at something and you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
AI.
A lot of people seem to be pretty, claim to be experts at being able to spot AI artwork.
Yeah. So my stuff, the whole point of the models that I'm doing is I'm trying to make it so that that becomes harder. And the way that I'm doing it is I'm making models that make images bad, make it look like the person who drew
By
them doesn't know
training
what
it
they're
on
doing.
your own artwork?
Yes, specifically on the artwork that I'm not using for anything, on the artwork that,
Right.
all of my mistakes and things like that, basically. Um, and so yeah, people seem to. I mean, people are using the models. I don't know what they're using them for exactly, but that's kind of interesting.
And that's all through Stable Diffusion, is what you said?
Yeah. This is a Stable Diffusion, which is like, sort of the granddaddy of all the different things. Like, I feel as though I'm not sure about this, but I'm pretty positive that like Midjourney is built off of Stable Diffusion. I think they used it. I mean, because that's the
Yeah,
thing, is that it
they're all
feels
using each other's models, it
just
sounds
like,
like.
yeah, exactly. So yeah. Now, what I would do, if I had the money and the time and the resources, I would be running Stable Diffusion um, on my own box. I just download it and I'd use it.
Yeah.
You know, Instead, what I'm doing is I'm using somebody else's server, um, to do it. Which, I mean, that's what it's there. It's basically a community where they trade Stable Diffusion art work back and forth, and
Yeah.
you have a an in-house generator that you can use, basically.
Do you
And so
do you
I
pay
created
for the
models to use in that.
do you pay for the privilege of using the server?
You pay for the machine stuff, yeah. It's like $10 a month,
That's not
which
too bad.
is not bad
Less
at
than the
all. Yeah.
cost of a streaming service.
Yeah, I mean there are points. There are points that you get and you use. So if I wanted to, I could probably use it for free. I would severely
You-
limit the amount of time I would spend on it
yeah.
though, in that case. Because in order to build the reason I joined is in order to build models, it's like 500 points, which you can't really get.
Could you
Um,
pay for them?
just five. Well, yeah. I mean, you don't have to join. You could just buy points,
Yeah.
but I don't know. In the end, it's more economical doing it this way, I think. But again, the main thing is that this is a hobby. I'm not doing anything with it.
It
Not
brings you
planning on
joy,
doing
and I think
anything.
that's enough, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I mean, that's the thing is it's fun to do.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I you may uh-oh, did your computer stop?
The system notification helper came off again. Oh, this is cool. You remember how I plugged it into the docking station and I had three screens and I couldn't figure out what's going on?
Oh
The
yeah.
notification helper that used to, show up on my screen and obscure it, it's on one of the other screens. It just decided to show it on that screen. So that's good news. Yeah, sorry,
You
what?
may you may have noticed that I have a different background today. I like I said before, I am in Buffalo. If you can believe that is Buffalo, Western New York, outside that window
Hey,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. And actually next week I'll be back home, and then the week after that I'm going to be in Disneyland because I'm going to Disneyland with my family.
Wow.
And I haven't been to
Disneyland, not Disney World. So you're going to the.
Disneyland
Oh, of
in
course, you're on the West Coast. You're on the West Coast.
Anaheim,
You're
of
on the West
course.
Coast. Yeah.
And I right not right now I'm not.
No,
Um
no.
but yeah, I haven't been
Good
to
point.
Disneyland. I've never been to Disneyland
Oh,
or Disney World as an adult, so I don't really know what to expect.
really?
Just walking around. Maybe I'll go on a ride, maybe not. I don't know.
You should go on a ride. Well, maybe. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess you'll have fun. It's the
Maybe
happiest place on earth. What I've
could be
heard.
great.
Don't die.
That sounds that sounds pretty forced. It's the happiest place on earth. So when you're here, you better be happy or you're gonna regret it.
You could try to get into the underground tunnels.
Oh yeah, do some urban exploring.
Yep, yep. Um, but yeah, it should be. I'm sure you'll have fun.
So
Um,
actually, that I was leading up to it. I mean, this is something we
oh,
can discuss in the post show Patreon exclusive content. But if you're gonna be if you're good for a twofer next week, because
next week. Yeah, sure.
I don't know if I'll have the bandwidth to podcast from somewhere in Disneyland.
Oh my God, though, Ben, if you could,
Like like we'll do
yeah,
it we'll do a two for next week, and then like if I do have, if I can, then I will let you know in the
yeah.
moment.
So here's a question for you. So are you? I think I'm not telling tales out of school here. One of the things that was weird when I was seeing a therapist for my OCD stuff.
Yeah,
I got a new therapist because my old therapist left. Um, um, the service that I was working on. She has a private practice now, I think.
yeah,
So the new therapist listens to when I'm doing my therapy with her. She doesn't wear earplugs or headphones. She
okay,
lets the speaker on her computer just
yeah,
play. So I hear myself on a delay.
right.
And I've mentioned it to her about how it's weird, but then I realized the whole reason that I'm in therapy for my OCD is so that stuff like that, so I'm able to deal with it. So
This is a new thing. So I know that you've been doing a lot of work with your previous therapist about like conquering these OCD habits, and so now
Yeah.
you're no longer with that person. And are you doing the same exercises with this new person, or does it feel like starting over?
Same kind of exercises. One of the things that we're trying to tackle though more is the hoarding stuff. So I'm what's that?
Oh, I'm being delivered cake.
Oh, hello.
Lindsay's bringing me some cake.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hi. So
Here,
that's really
put
that's
this in your ear.
Wait, didn't we try
No,
this? Doesn't it mean that only one of us can be
I
heard?
don't think so.
Hey. So what happened? Hello. Yeah, I
I
can
don't know
now.
Hi.
which one the microphone is in
Oh,
though.
there you are. Hello. Yeah, I think that my phone's in yours. You have to get your mouth like right up to the other side of his face.
Oh, is that the microphone is in mine?
It is, yeah. That's the easiest
Yeah,
way to do it for sure.
there
I
we
love
go.
that you know how to do this. Okay, this is not your first
Oh no,
shared
I still can't.
AirPods. It's not your first shared AirPods experience.
Oh yeah.
Can
How
you
about
not?
it?
Can you hear that?
Ben can
I
also
heard
hear it
it.
for both of us.
But
I
at least
heard
you
it
can
and
hear
then
it.
she moved away again.
All right.
Uh but what is the logo on the shirt?
Do you want to tell Paul or do you want me to tell Paul?
You talk and then I'll translate.
Okay. It's from the Tournament of Books.
It's from the Tournament of Books.
What is the tournament of books?
The Tournament of Books is a Sweet 16 style competition
It's a Sweet 16 style competition.
that pitches different works of literary fiction against one
Dead
another
air.
in
Sorry,
a
folks.
That what did you say?
I said dead air. Sorry, folks. Oh,
Oh, it pi-
because will it pick her up on that side of
it
the
might.
yeah?
Yeah, it's not a song. Here, actually, I'll tell you what. Let's swap earpieces.
Do you want me to talk this way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here,
Can I put it in my ear?
Oh wow, look at that.
Hi, Paul.
Okay, now talk again.
So the Tournament of Books is this.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Why can't I hear her?
Oh, I don't know.
because my computer was freaking out because it thought that everything was turned off. So hang on a sec. Doo doo doo. All right, now you should be able to. Here, put
All
this.
Hi.
right.
No. Ah. Oh, it's all me. I'm
Okay,
a
there
guest
you go.
star.
Hey,
Hi. So the
oh
Tournament
hi,
of
how's it
Books is
going?
this. It's going really well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing well. Doing well. Well, car problems. But other than that, doing all
Oh,
right.
sorry
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, it's a problem.
How's Betty?
Betty's good. Betty just graduated, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. We had a we okay, so I legally have to say Jennifer's good friend Greg allowed us to use his house over the weekend for her graduation party because we thought we were going to be getting a whole bunch of people from out of town to come in, and it turns out only 4 or 5 of them came.
oh.
So I got to run around a little bit of a big kind of house and pretend that I was rich for a second.
Does that child
Um,
need me? Oh, it might be in the kitchen. One of my children just came to let me know that the remote was missing, which might be
oh
because I took.
no,
Well, usually that means I took it into the kitchen. It's just you and me now,
gotcha.
Paul, and my dog who's sniffing around right below camera level.
What's your dog's name? Have we talked about this already?
This is Malcolm. Malcolm, come here.
Hey
Come
Malcolm.
here.
Hey
He's quite
Malcolm.
he's quite tall, so he might venture into frame, but he's
Did you see Edward
to
the
figure it out.
last time
Yes,
you were here?
not so earlier. I saw like the first time I saw Edward, I was like, "Does Paul have a puppy?" And Ben said, "No, that's just Edward.
Yeah,
He's small."
full size dog. So
Yeah.
so one of the people that was supposed to come in. This is a long story, but it has sort of a payoff, maybe. one of the people who was supposed to come in was the the child of my sister-in-law, who, oh no, the child of my sister-in-law. There's a thumbs down that appeared on the screen. I think it was me. I think I did it. Uh, so the child of my sister-in-law, who has so she was dating a boy who was Muslim but not really practicing, and then his parents showed up, and all of a sudden things got more strict, and so they broke up because he can't really be dating anyone.
Okay.
But she was interested in halal stuff, so she's halal, and so we bought some things just in case she showed up. She didn't, but there are sausages that are made with beef and I want to say veal, beef and goat,
Okay.
maybe just
Wow.
two different meats, no pork, and I really liked them. I thought that they
Okay.
were great. Jennifer didn't like them because they were too spicy, and Edward uh, was just like I'd never seen him like this before. He's just standing there, and normally he stands there, puppy dog eyes, like, "Oh, if only I'm so hungry. Why does anyone feed me?" This is like an intense. You're gonna
Yeah.
give me some of whatever that is. Whatever that is, some of it's coming over here, and there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it.
So a friend of mine who
But he
studies
liked him, yeah,
a friend of mine who studies service dogs, like he's a
yeah.
disability studies scholar, and he studies like seeing eye dogs and other service animals. Apparently, one of the things they do, like when the dogs graduate from service dog training academy, whatever it is, they take them into Wegmans and they go to the cheese counter, and they're like, if the dog can attend to their business in smelling distance of all of that cheese, then we know we're okay.
Wow. I remember that for a while there were some dogs in Seattle that you could adopt that were police dogs that failed out
Yeah,
because they were too nice,
right.
which I think is kind of great.
I like those videos of like the one police dog who's not good enough, and it just like has like because the dog has human character, like the dog is like wants to look outside or wants to have fun or be nice, and the rest of the dogs are like, stop it, and he's like, I don't know, I just
Yeah, that's what would happen if I tried to be a police officer. I think same sort of
yeah,
deal.
someone else would adopt you.
Yeah. I gotta say to you guys, you might not know this, but I really, when I was a kid, I was totally taken in by sort of the television propaganda about police and things like that. Imagine little Paul Goody walking around going, "Well, the problem with the police is that there are too many laws and oversights from the civilian population, and they're not able to do their jobs properly." That was totally where I was at the time. It was pretty crazy. Also, I was anemic and short and very thin, so just an all around, semi-fascist dork.
With
So
no
I feel
hemoglobin.
exactly no hemoglobin, and also very little empathy for my fellow human beings. I've gotten better, um, so that's good.
Do
And
you
on
want to be
that note,
able to
Ben,
hear again? Okay.
on that note, we are towards the end of the podcast, if you can believe it. Which is too bad because
That's
I
why
was
I brought
talking.
cake.
Yeah. So I think Ben, it may be time for us to end the
Why
show.
don't I'm going to give Ben his ears back so that you guys can
It was
end
so great talking to
this. It
you.
was so great talking to you. I'm really
Yes.
pleased. And next time I'll tell you more about the tournament of books.
Oh yeah, we need to find out more.
Okay.
Take this place.
So Ben, it looks like you are in for a wonderful evening. of cake, and I wish you the best
Yeah, we
cake
just had the
wise.
cake, so it's
You ate
um,
all the cake already?
well, I mean, I ate the piece that was delivered to me.
Yes, that's right.
So maybe just
Jennifer is going to be making me Jello cake
mm, all right,
pretty soon.
cool. Well, and with that, I think it's a minute after our time
Time
together,
to
so
time to hit the old dusty trail, as
indeed.
they say.
I have a family Zoom tonight. Now, normally when I have Zoom with my family, it's at 7 p.m. But because and it's still at 7 p.m. But because I'm here, it's now at 10 p.m. So
Right,
kind of late.
crazy.
Anyway,
Oh,
hey
which is
Paul, good
in
talking
two
to you.
hours.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's nice talking to you too, man.
yeah,
Uh,
all right.
hey, all right. So
Keep it
so
raw.
yeah. And yeah, I think we will do it too for next week. That
Great.
sounds good.
Yeah, I'll be back home.
All right, awesome. Well, until then,
Rock
Ben,
on.
keep it wrong. How's it happening? And again,
How's
if
it?
you're a listener to the podcast and you can remember what the answer to how's it happening was, let us know.
Right
All
now, it's
right.
been about 6 months. All right, and talk to you later, Paul. Keep it
Talk to
wrong.
you